I'm Peter Salvatore. I'm the Director of Construction at Boston Water Sewer.
My name is Jean-Luc Texera. I'll be the project manager on the North End project.
So as part of our planned capital improvement schedule, where we have a contract upcoming in the North End, this is an overview you probably can't see too well, but we also gave you a handout on the back. It's a list of streets. We're projected to start construction in April, and we're scheduled to last through October. We'll probably have 2 crews working simultaneously on the job. The biggest impacts will be probably parking and traffic while we're working. Most of our like tentative working hours are for days. That's dependent on what permits we get from City Hall. Does anyone have any specific questions before I go on any of the potential impacts?
I guess what are the types of improvements?
It's primarily water work. There is some sewer and drain work. So for the water work, you could, if we're working on your street, you could expect like a water service interruption while you're put on a temporary water bypass system. That's usually 1 interruption to be put on the bypass and 1 to be taken off. Anyone who's impacted by a 1-day shutdown will get a notice 48 hours in advance that your water will be turned off. Sometimes when we're operating valves on an older system, we get groundwater. Just like the interruptions should be minor. There's only, I think, 2 or 3 streets. We have traffic plans for this contract. 2 or 3 streets that we're working on will have to be closed while we're working on them. The rest should remain open, at least the traffic. We'll probably have to restrict parking in order to do that. And the parking will be restored at night if we're working during the day, so it will be open.
And typically, I'll send out letters within 2 weeks of construction date to anyone that may be affected on these specific streets. So my information is on those letters as well. So if you have any questions prior to construction beginning, feel free to reach out to me.
Yeah.
Which streets are going to be closed?
I believe Towson is one of them, and Margaret would be the other, I believe.
And now it's coordinated through City Hall with our permit. So if that's like, we don't make that decision unilaterally. We also, police details have the final say. So on some of the streets we're working on, if they deem it unsafe to keep it open, they might make the decision to close it. But at this point, we don't anticipate closing any of the streets.
And the other utilities that are pulling permits or that have permits that we know of that you'd have to go further with? We do have 3 utility permits being pulled within the project, right?
Yeah.
Lewis Street.
Some, yeah, I think just gas on it.
Yeah, National Grid was on Fulton Street, Lewis Street, Verizon, and I forget the third, Prince Street, I believe was the last, with Verizon as well. So those, they should be reaching out to residents as well.
Okay. Some notes from some of the other utilities.
Yes.
Okay, gotcha. Now, do you know which street or like what street's gonna be the first one that's worked on?
Yeah, I believe Battery Street will be first. So the tentative schedule that we had the contractors come up with, say Battery Street and Cleveland Place. I know Cleveland Place is kind of like a walkway, but it's just adjacent to Margaret Street. But Battery and Cleveland Place, you can expect to see crews around April, mid-April.
Okay. Yeah. I just know that especially like once we get towards October, well, the end of July, I mean October, end of July and August, when we get to fee season over here, if there's any other major traffic shutdowns, is there something, or is there anyone that can like contact, or is there a primary person for anyone to contact, or especially with coordinating fees?
So it'll always be myself. The contractor is aware of the fees. I've made them aware that the new dates are up on the website, the North End website. And they're advised that no work should be going on and the area should be clean. I know most of the feasts are on weekends if I'm not mistaken. So there shouldn't be work on Saturdays anyway.
We also will coordinate that with the city. They'll probably they'll communicate with us that we won't be allowed to work there.
Yeah.
We don't plan on working to the special condition in the contract
Yeah.
for them to plan on working around them. So.
And if the street happens to be adjacent to any of the feasts, they're advised to remove all equipment prior to the day of the feast. Yeah. Good.
So, along with the feast, June actually begins Sunday processions too, just so you guys are aware.
Okay.
If you're not doing work on the weekends,
Yeah, there's
absent,
no-
some sort of, if the route goes through, it's just better to be as far away as possible.
Okay, understand. I'll let them know that too. But yeah, we don't anticipate any weekend work.
Yeah. And when you said Towson shut down, you're gonna do the whole street?
Correct.
Okay. So there's no way to maybe, if they make that right, I'm just thinking about, we only have the one way going up all the way, and that's the only turn. So,
Yeah.
like, is there a way to say, if they go down, then they can go behind the Prado, like that way?
As of our traffic management plan, I know from Towson, the entirety was closed, so
Okay.
there'd be no in or out from that general region. And then there were signs on, I believe, Unity, and I forget the other side, Salem, if I'm not mistaken. So there would be road
As
closed
long as
signs.
there's, yeah, enough
all-
signage,
yeah,
because that's
it's-
tough. Once, if you make that, you know how it is.
Yeah.
It's too narrow, so you make that
Yeah.
turn, you're done.
There's gonna be signage any road leading into Towson that says road closed ahead, do not enter,
Perfect,
as well as other detour signs.
thank you.
And please call us. Don't be afraid to call us. We'd rather people don't get upset or folks aren't at convenience store. I mean, we all live in the city too.
And we'll have, our contractors are on site, obviously, while they're working. We also have a full-time inspector on site. We haven't assigned one to this job yet, but we will reach out and we can give you their contact information. The quickest way to get anything resolved is to try and resolve it in the field with the field guys.
Yeah.
But if you're not getting the results you need with them, if you contact us in the office, we can also take care of it. But if it's an issue that you want corrected right away, the easiest way is to just go on.
That's perfect.
How will this affect the bike path on like commercial and Atlantic?
It shouldn't, but we're not coming all the way out onto commercial. We're
Okay.
kind of at that intersection, but if anything, it would just be a one-day interruption, what would be the timing of that? I don't think.
Minimal.
Okay. Yeah, that intersection at the commercial wharf is
Commercial.
really dangerous as it is, so just wanna flag that. If that's shut down in any way, it's already super dangerous, that curve.
And what
So-
group do you communicate with? The same, it's the bike group through the city hall, right? We
I'm
can
sorry,
post
so-
something on the city hall website. If
Okay.
there's bike groups, do you usually communicate through that? I can't remember the name of it.
I don't
Can
even
you
know.
remember the name of the group?
Yeah,
So we
so I
typically
guess
go
Like
to
the,
the city hall.
the hubway,
Yes.
things.
And I
like
know
that.
there's a lot of groups here, if any of the individual groups have individual concerns, you can reach out to us ahead of time and let us know. We
Well,
can give you a close look at
yeah.
the plans or anything you want to see, the traffic management plans, anything like that.
Yeah, no problem.
Okay.
That's not an issue either.
Especially the summer months, yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely. Once you get once you get the final construction schedule and the inspector contact information, everything like that, if you feel free to reach out to me and I can pass it on to with the moreover.com, and most of that, everything, the regional review, everything like that, and get it more into publications for all of our residents.
Definitely.
So,
And then like we provide the overview tonight, we'll update that periodically throughout the project to let people know how we're progressing, what's done, what's not done. And the other thing I just want to mention is we come in and do the work and we pave as we go. Under a separate contract, we'll be coming in to do what's called a permanent trench repair. So we'll be done with the construction work and then we'll have to come back and restore the trench. That usually happens 3 to 6 months after completion. That's usually 1 or 2 days, it's not as long as the original work.
so for like parts of the, for certain streets, I'm assuming that it's gonna probably go past October.
The paving usually will wrap up by December for
Okay.
the year.
Yeah.
Not necessarily specific to this project, and then it doesn't ramp back up until April. So anything we complete at the beginning of this year, as possible, we will permanent pave it this year. Anything that's completed towards the end of the season will most likely be permanent paved in the spring of next year.
Well, I'll open it up to the audience for anyone, any questions? Any other questions from members of the council?
Okay.
Thank you all for coming out here and sharing the updates, I really appreciate it.